were structured. They were able to pull themselves in, but G2 kept on just taking the rounds out from underneath them.
G2 was lucky.
Yeah.
Sorry.
In the words of some. And then obviously Kavana, we saw go up against NaVi with it. And NaVi took Kavana. It was a 7-4 on console, I believe.
Both were 7-4s, I believe.
Both 7-4s. Either side
on the
of
same
it,
day as well.
The wrong side.
That's true.
So it's curious now because we can quote stats, we can quote performances, and we can talk about how they were the last time they met and how they've grown since. But seeing it in action and in momentum is where we're really going to get a taste of who is performing, who is bringing themselves to these games at the minute. NaVi are bringing themselves to every game very well at the minute.
I have to say, I like the Nomad ban. We don't often see it, well, not always see it anymore, I have to say, on the likes of Consulate. But Virtus.pro starting off on the defense really want to be getting their fair few share of rounds in on the likes of NaVi, and potentially looking to bring some aggression. As Valkyrie's open for a change, is a new one. Also Thatcher, but I don't think Thatcher is that super impactful on this side. Considering the fact only Heartbreach really gets used on that bottom floor in Garage, and then again, you are going to lose it. So,
honestly, I quite like the removal of the Mute. We've seen Mute have a high pick rate at the minute. We've seen Mute's been able to adapt really well in situations. You have the English shotgun and the SMG, which in the right hands is devastating. And teams that have that as not a reliance, but a consistency, sometimes when you take that out of the mix, because it's not the most common removal, it can kind of scarper a couple of plans and ideas. You don't always prep for the possibility of a Mute to be off the board. And even if you do, it's a different story to actually play without. It's a different story to bring those expectations into actualizations. So I quite like the ban there. They went against hard destruction. The other team went against the possibility of controlling the play space with the Nomad and the Mormai gone. You know, I think it's going to be a pretty hectic fight. You instantly see both Valk and Mozzie on the board. That's probably going to be the story of the whole game.
Yeah, and I'm going to be coming back on this, something I've said over the past 3 play days as well. Consulate is a map where currently a lot of drones are giving you the yellow pings, which result in wallbangs coming from the windows. Now, one way to stop these drones is, of course, with a Mute Jammer, so that will also make sense if you're looking to play a little bit more of that kind of game style. Of course, Moz is still on board, will be trying to mess up a little bit with that game plan, trying to hijack some of those drones. But as we are going to that top floor first, it is Rask on the roam, still potentially hunting for some drones, looking to take off as many as possible, especially the pre-placed ones, because we all know how detrimental those can be if you're getting caught off on your roam on the bottom floor, hoping to use your C4 for a counterplant situation.
Well, starting in with a quick bit of pace here as IQ tries to get the read on all the intel as possible. Again, if I'm going to talk about how frequent we're going to see Valk and Mozzie, expect a lot of IQ on the board too. You need to have a better understanding of how they are reading you, because this is a game of the quickest read finishes the book and finds the points at the end of it. So, if you are not that one step ahead, you are probably going to be 2 steps behind. Now, though, it's a steady collapse towards those windows, setting themselves up on all of the approaching sides. Obviously, without a Nomad, there's a lot of concern for angles to be played on the doors, but Rask gets the first, secretly taken out from inside as he's trying to hold on to the bathroom. That's going to put a bit of pressure onto Doki, and he's going to swing in to find the move and the momentum, goes instantly deep to the top of yellow, and tries to find a body just off the bat.
Yeah, he's trying to put some pressure down. He's on the top of yellow stairs right now, holding off to the connector, and it doesn't seem like VP is well aware of it. Of course, a couple of shots are siphoning through right now, and that means that they might be aware of his position. But as long as he's playing on the likes of the yellow stairs, he is going to be very impactful. The yellow ping comes in. He's not able to land a shot. Eventually, we'll be able to take the kill to Pasha, though. That's removing 2 impact nades that could be used to potentially stop a plant later on. That is the one member playing below as well. But now Rask is starting to creep up, gets a drone hacked. That will be taken down by Doki, but he will remain hidden. And that means he has the opportunity to crouch up now and take the kill down onto Doki any second now.
He still has a C4 in pocket too. He could try and catch them on the top of yellow and play a little bit less risk and reward. And in the meantime, WTG is able to find saves, is keeping the pressure heavy, keeping themselves consistent inside as Nathan Blur try to apply some of themselves onto the CEO windows itself. But the angles are held tight, and so is the smoke canisters. A little fraction reflection of damage does not shake VP as they hold onto the angles, and Doki still finds himself a little bit stuck and isolated. Rask has gone up to take the mantle of where Pasha was playing before. As we saw, there was a fight with the foothold, but if he is kept underneath, it will be a very easy pickup on the calls of, well, they're in. Doki gets dropped. Knew he had to take that fight, can't quite make it work, and here is that C4. Ripped, blown, goes under the smoke, but Milon finds one, puts Nathan with everything to do, gets one, but Virtus.pro, well, they put themselves a step up.
The moment they managed to find themselves in this 1v4 situation, they basically won it already. And the thing is, right, it's okay to do a yellow take and go from the console windows. However, you need to have that piano control, and that was something that wasn't really there. Doki lost a lot of his HP early on in that round after he took down the gunfight onto Pasha, which basically not allowed him to go into for a second one, which lost him his life eventually. And, well, that's still okay if you would have a man advantage, which they then did no longer have. And just trying to push for a plant right then, like, it's the only thing they could really do with the amount of time left, but it's just not going to work. You have a C4 below, you have one playing inside of the connectors, probably smoke still pushing as well. Have just been guaranteed to be a loss. And that is why we do actually very often see an admin side take, for example, because it's a little bit more forgiving. You don't really have to rely on just one repellent, basically.
Yeah, I think losing the Hibana as the first loss limited what they could do. Obviously, they stacked her up originally to try and get control of the bathroom. They wanted a bit of pace and, I guess, 2 bodies on the top of yellow, but pushing from admin without a Hibana to be able to try and pop behind long desk and apply the pressure there, it becomes so tough. It becomes so tight as well. Long desk is no man's land, and to throw yourself down it with the vain hope of getting to the end without suffering all the way, even if you stop in halfway onto the top of the spiral stairs, it's still a big space, and it takes a bullet to cut that dream in half and the route that you were trying to take.
Anyway, after taking down the Hibana, that Hibana doesn't just come in huge for if you want to take long desk, right? But you can also use it to create a rotation from the yellow stairs into the bathroom, or directly into the side if you're going from that little small cubby, right? So Hibana would have been really key in the term of their setup there, because right now they were just focused and forced to go through a window and through a door, whilst they basically didn't have the control to back it up with. But now we do again see the Hibana coming out as the Soul Breacher, as on the likes of NaVi going downstairs. Gonna be key now to keep on the board, considering we are down in garage.
The pace that Doki's trying to apply here as well. The yellow pings are pretty consistent around Printer, but the body's already slipped past. He's concerned over the rotation there, and Pasha backs up. But as I talk about long desk, there's some of the dangers. Even if you're the defender, it's a big space to try and get across. There's a lot of angles that you can get caught from, and that frees Doki up to try and push his way up across the opposite side. Now Rask is the one that's buried at the back. There is a drop that he's not going to take yet. He's going to go for the firefight at first. Has the option, I believe. There's the rotation. Round to the top of yellow and catches Doki out by surprise. Maybe. Didn't know that that option was there, but Rask has punished them for it and found a bit of balance back.
I was going to say, very good start from NaVi, able to flush them out, able to pick up that kill. However, Doki being lost there early on in the refrag after not being aware of the rotation happening is going to be very painful. Rask now will be forced off that top floor, but it is at a big cost. They did take down Nave to, well, half HP. Blur took a little bit as well, but they lost Doki. They lost those S charges that they had available to, for example, open up the piano floor, allowing them to, well, some pressure down onto the sides of the back of white van, onto the, well, black car, for example. Now they just have to rely on the potential breaching charges that IQ and Sophia bring, as a lot of damage of Gerzak is being done in the meantime.
That's it. There's scratch damage done to a couple of bodies, but without them put down, it's still a gun that can fire just as deadly as if they were, well, full health. Now, we're going to see the start of some play from Secretly, removed first early in the first round, is able to try and apply himself to where Heart Destruction is probably most vital. Nathan is offering a support structure from the bottom of yellow, swinging with the possibility of applying anyone that gets a bit too close, but here comes Secretly, opens the cross angle in the top left and the rotation on the bottom right to make sure they can get in by that white van, saves is waiting for anyone that tries to pull further away, but they've already repositioned, and with only 10 seconds left, they've got to make sure that this sticks from NaVi. The concern is potentially Milan with that Echo drone now, as Nate's keeping a cover on. They're putting pressure, but you can see him sat on the drone. He doesn't catch it, not sure where it was or what happened, but the C4 is a little too late. 3 versus 3 in a post-plant situation, and now they're able to find themselves dug in. Nate cuts WTG in half.
Oh, look at this angle.
Saves all the way from the top rope. Sets himself up. Rask has everything to do and no time to do it. There is a man above, a man below, and one out deep. And NaVi find a draw.
There's no way that they were going to be able to get that round as soon as that post plant happened. He said, what happened to the drone? Where is it? I believe the first one actually got shot by the Zofia moving in for cover, who then got the kill right afterwards as well. And you saw that the second one was being put in position, but it was right above the white van. You saw a little shadow move across the map towards the actual planter, but by the time it arrived, the bomb on the, well, actually the diffuser was already down and the 45 seconds were ticking. So, well, you could maybe get a stun off, but both already back outside in that case and set themselves up for the post-plant position, which saves all the way on the top floor. That's a very tough angle to try and contest. But if you're sitting still for 7 seconds trying to get that defuse, he's guaranteed to kill you.
Well, one apiece, but back to Cafe is where we're going to go. Virtus.pro, as we quoted before from their game against G2 here, they felt unlucky. I think it's fair to say, and that was, you know, the quote that went around. But at the same time, I guess you get some understanding of why a team feels that. Okay, there are some days at the office that don't go right, but how much of it do you put towards that? How much of it do you put towards just being those little moments that feel like it's luck? It feels like the flip of the coin has gone away from you. Potentially that juggling of echoes being a split second too late is one of those moments, and that's why they're happy to double it down, because sometimes you want to try to make your own luck. But, you know, again, it's the lesson of, well, what's luck, really?
I was always told that you need to force luck a little bit, right? You need to put it up to your own hand, and that's exactly what NaVi managed to do. They managed to flush out one, and yes, it was a great response we saw from VP, able to take down Doki. Very impactful kill, as Rask now will go down from the yellow stairs window. Will be secured, however, but will be for the remainder of the round on 20 HP. That's a very big loss early on, but it could have been much worse.
I think, yeah, that's it. That was a moment where they tried to take some opportunity, and they're lucky to escape, if I'm going to go back to the word I throw around so often, but it's the cost of Rask, who has been a bit of a big force so far. He's been able to get himself into these firefights. I don't think any of them I would describe as clean firefights so far. It's been a lot of scrappiness between these two teams, and when you are the one that is one bullet away, regardless of where it hits, well, the story is usually already written. So Rask is going to have to try and step himself up, even though he's already stepped up so well. Try and flick to the right portion. Pasha, in the meantime, is offering some support, gets around the back of a drone, and Doki is looking for the fight, but both of them realize they don't need to take it on the top floor. They're not going to risk lives all the way up there, I say, as they go past an opening soft door.
Interesting C4 being prepped right here. Potentially someone moving in from Visa. And Say's looking to clear out anything he can find. Has to be careful because that C4 is still being prepped. I'm not sure if they have any information out. I don't see the Valkyrie being played. I doubt that they have a yokai up there. I doubt that the default cam is up, but there could be an opportunity, whilst in the meantime VP now falling back towards that site. Of course, only one member still upstairs is in that bathroom on the name of Gorjeka. He has a very important job to do. He needs to put down as much pressure as he possibly can. He's being shot down from antechamber through antechamber, rather. Drops down. 60 seconds now left for NaVi to try and get themselves ready to go for this final execute.
Seems like a lot of pressure's being applied to the players of Virtus.pro to push them away from what they wanted to hold before, but without a kill, it's still a worry. You still have the possibility of Echo on the board. They have 2 C4s in pocket too. They're preparing themselves for the takeover here, and if NaVi don't find a way to finish these bodies, they might find themselves in a big spot of bother with only 30 seconds left to try and put this diffuser down on the ground and make it stick. Pasha, in the meantime, opens up with a double on Yellow. In fact, one was the reverse vertical through Piano, so he's really causing big problems secretly. Gets a bit of revenge for the play against him earlier and finds that lock off. But 15 seconds and they haven't found their way into sight until this moment. There is the first attempt on a plant. There is a misthrown C4 and there is a body going drop down. Milon doesn't catch it this time either, but almost finds the man on the rotation out, puts it into a 2 versus 3. They're going for the plant. He's all the way at the top. He's spraying, but it doesn't quite hit it. They find the defuse.
Very unfortunate right there. You saw him moving in, but due to the fact that he didn't open up the floor yet, the bullet had to travel through, well, 2 of the actual surfaces right there, and it no longer does that. It only travels through 1. I wasn't able to get the tap because of it. Very unfortunate there. I was going to say, they did manage to somehow get that plant off. You saw the sonic burst from the yokai fly all the way through the garage in the last hope to try and cancel it. Weren't able to do so, but they did manage to get the post plant ready. They disassembled NaVi as they tried to set themselves up. They were quick on that defuse, didn't give saves any time to put down a breaching charge to prepare themselves to go for that plant. And then you might be thinking, maybe Save should have been doing that before, you know, when there was more time, when they cleared out the top floor, set yourselves up. Maybe that's something that would have actually saved them that round. But hindsight, of course, 2020. And VP now able to take the lead in this defensive half so far. Back to the top floor they go. Side they managed to win at the first attempt as the Yellow and console take didn't really seem to be working out due to the early loss, of course, of Secretly. Not able to breach anything. Let's see how that will differ this time around.
Well, that's it. That's the stack up, and that's the setup, and that's an Aruni. We talked about her in those wonderful graphics from the beginning of the day that I'm assuming have made their way onto Twitter and subreddits and other such places, which shows the pick rate and the ban rate and how much Aruni has stepped into the playfield. She is so good at burning just so much, and that's the big cost here. It's not really the 30-second window, more that they have to get rid of them in a lot of cases. And that's also why, as the split to that, is we've seen the pickup in Iana because of the Gemini ability to get rid of those, combined with the Gun 6, combined with all the many things she can throw through it, and that's it. They'll have to cost the drone. There's still the concern of the Mozzie doubled up too, which is more drones that are being eaten up and losing that information game, as we said at the very beginning on Consulate. Oh, that's costly.
Rask has a good drone right here. He's able to check out if someone is repelled up on the southern side of the map, but will not be finding anybody as of yet, but can continue to do, like, you know, little jumps to the side. And now will spot Saves out, who's unaware of the fact that he has been spotted, and that means Rask is going to be going for a run out potentially soon, as now the repel will be heard. There's no way Saves can turn around. That's a kill, but he will be refragged though, Secretly ready to get a shot down onto him, and that brings a 3v4 advantage right here for NaVi. But Doki, who doesn't have the best game as of yet.
Yeah, Doki hasn't really been able to find himself into this, but it's something worth noting is in all the previous matchups between Virtus.pro and NaVi, Doki frequently bottom of the board. -8 in the EUL Season 2 split, -10 when they battled against each other at the major. So it's not his best showing, and Showdown, potentially the aggressive playstyle that Virtus.pro plays historically, is one that costs how Doki likes to approach the maps. If there's anything, it's going to take a bit of the wind out of his sails, but to be fair, with how he's been playing the first few games, well, it was one of those questions we asked. How are NaVi going to perform if Doki isn't the man of the moment and the lead star? This is when we got to see the rest of them step up.
Yeah, now Secretly is the one that's leading the charge with the amount of kills together at NaVi, while Secretly has been the one that statistically had the least amount of kills over the last couple of games. It's good to see that he's having a step up right now as they seem to be entering. There's going to be a bullet hole right there, taking him out. That's a diffuser now dropped in the middle of sight as well, and that means they need to recover it. But Doki up from the yellow stairs, able to pick up one at least, bringing back the favor towards their side. But Kazaka on the top of Spiral is going to be in a very crucial position together with Milon, who also has a good angle down. Will be taking the kill down onto Doki, bringing it into a 1v2 situation now. Are they inside is the question. Are they going to be able to get the plan down? As well, member was still repelled up on Connector.
Well, he takes the rotation and he looks for the swing, but he doesn't quite catch it. Nath is able to secure and keep NaVi toe-to-toe in this showdown so far, where they're getting a bit of a runaround from Virtus.pro. Quick aggression and confidence is probably a bit of a breath of relief if you're a Virtus.pro fan. There's the plug, though, the hashtag NaVi Nation for anyone that is more driven by NaVi, or the question mark. It's all in the skins. Hey, you can get those skins in the game. Support the scene.
Support the scene.
Why
Buy
has
the
he
pilot
said
program skins. Why are you selling out? What are you doing?
Sometimes you got to plug,
This is your moment. Put a shameless self-promotion.
I was waiting for production to put one of the top-down boxes of advertising the skin there. Just to tie it all together. Like the wink and, the look to the camera.
Yeah. There we have it.
There it is.
The VP shotgun.
Yeah.
The M590A1.
There you go. And you want to support Virtus.pro and the team there? There you go. There we go.
There it is.
Right, so we find ourselves for the first time at lobby, looking at a slightly different setup, a slightly different hold at 2-2. So break the mold, break the meta. Let's see what can be pulled out of it.
Look at that beautiful kill right there from Milan. Just quickly dropping the diffuser in the middle of the site. It's dirty, right, when it happens from a bullet hole, but it's so important for the round for VP there. Unfortunately, not able to win it in the end. Snape repelling in, able to get that final kill, and NaVi find themselves on 2 next to Virtus.pro. Still looking very even so far. A 3-3 split wouldn't be strange to see, as the majority of NaVi seems to be coming down from the Visa side of things. Maybe going for a Visa and admin split. Trying to take the top floor and the first floor at the same time, putting down some pressure on various components of this defense.
Now it's Nath who is doing a fair bit of work so far. The new support structure that came in at the start of the season to replace Kendrew and Joe was Secretly and Nath. They went with a slightly different pulled back style in terms of they were one of the few teams that didn't throw themselves all in on young gunners, as we've seen with the current momentum and bit of movement they dropped. Replaced Joe and tried to play a little bit more passive, and so far it's worked very well because it's freed up Doki and Blur and saves to put the pressure onto the game itself. But here, as we said before, it's the first taste of what happens if we don't have Doki going absolutely monumental.
Flashbangs coming in will be counted off by the smoke. Xhaka trying to buy himself some time, but knows as well that a grenade soon will be sailing in from that top hole that has just been created and is going to be covered off by the upside down repel we just see. But Milan managing to pick up 1, pick up 2 actually. Goes down to about 20 HP as Xhaka drops. Thinking about potentially forfeiting that first floor right there as the nice shots are coming down. The diffuser has been dropped and Nath needs to recover that, but they're unaware whether or not still one person is present inside of the connector pod.
Well, Blur's a little bit lost here at the top of lobby stairs. Hasn't quite been able to find himself into this game as of yet. And with 2 bodies off the board, it's going to make things even tougher for the 3 remaining NaVi players. They're looking to see if they can get anything on this top floor play. It is the lobby take, so it is a very dangerous push to just throw yourself inside. And we've already seen the verticality punished well by both teams. You do not want to dance with death. It puts too much at risk, especially when this game is still so meticulously toe-to-toe. Nathan goes for a big rotate over the top. They're going to go for a different idea and point of ingress as the steady clear comes from underneath. Saves, might see if he can catch Rask by surprise, but, well, they don't, is the moral of that story. Rask puts it to a 5-2, and with only 40 seconds left, it's looking dicey and dangerous for NaVi.
Know exactly where they are right now. Xhaka hides in the cubby, and his Nath surely will be pushing through soon. He will be met with a couple of more angles, a couple of guns aimed at his direction as Blur right now is aware of the fact that one is inside of the yellow stairs. Tries to take one down as he rotates in piano, but will be taken down himself. It's only up to Nath now as he gets taken down to WTG. That's a flawless round for Virtus.pro, and they will be retaking the lead for the 3rd time in this matchup. And let's see whether or not NaVi is going to be able to find a response for the 3rd time in this matchup.
Well, I know a lot of people expected NaVi to be able to take this based on recent scorelines and momentum and how these teams have been playing in the league so far. But at the same time, Virtus.pro, sure, they're pretty low on the board and the docket, but it's not as bad as the points kind of make it seem. They've been able to put fights in. They've been able to play good games and throw together good rounds. It's just taking it the distance has seemingly been the biggest problem so far. Here, they're showing those same signs of they're playing good rounds, they're putting in good bits of pressure, but it's that slip, it's that constant back and forth that concerns a team that is often so adept at, you expect them to be able to do big chunks, big swings of the game's pace into their hands.
Definitely so, and NaVi, the struggle of Doki not showing up suddenly looked like a different beast. VP able to keep up themselves, having quite a bunch of performing players right now. WTG, Rask, and Milan, just to name a few. Really able to get some important kills in many of these rounds, and that buys them so far 3 rounds. Of course, it is still close in the actual score line, but there is an opportunity that will all change as soon as this round has been played out, because then we will swap sides, and suddenly it could be that VP is going to be overrunning the defenses that NaVi would put up. We don't know it yet. We just have to simply wait. And we know, though, is that NaVi are not letting down with this. They want to pick up one more round at least to draw it up.
One of the things I think that's probably monumental and worth mentioning here is that Echo is gone. They've got rid of the idea of trying to get those drones to work too frequently. They've been taken out by either the Zephyr on the entrance, IQ we've seen all over the map, so we can only assume that's been an ardent observer of all of the positions of those drones. So instead, they're going to keep themselves a little bit more focused in-game, in-house, and their sights are set. They still have the 3 C4s. They've got, obviously, the Echoes and the Mirrors to swing around, and seemingly they got Pasha a bit under pressure. The top floor is the first point of ingress. He's droned out pretty consistently. He has Rask with the option, but neither of them are going to stick around. They're not going to suffer the same way they did before, I say, as secretly catches Pasha on the rotate and tries to get one more. Have to take a different route, and that one is close too. Doki finds another body underneath.
Very good start right here for NaVi, able to pick up 2 early frags, and that is going to be helping them for sure. Now, keep in mind, Blur is going to be using grenades to take care of the electroclons that have been placed on the wall due to the fact that they're placed in these, well, annoying situations to get them rid of with actual gunshots, and they need to open up that wall still, and thus, soon those grenades will pop, and soon the wall will actually be opened up. If a different plan hasn't emerged yet, but because I believe they just used some X-Kairos on the actual bathroom wall, but it might be wrong there.
I can't quite see, but I can see that they have a minute left, and well, now they have a 3 versus 3. What a disaster moment. Saves at least keeps the body balance in their favor, but Secretly and Nath both taken out in a single moment, a single breath of things going really wrong. I was about to comment on how they have a minute left. They have all the time in the world compared to the previous pushes where they were so pressured for time, and now they know where Mira is. Now they know that she's isolated, she's a little bit cut off. They can apply some pressure here and get her on the swing, but WTG is refusing to move. A sliver of health is all you need to take care of Doki. They still have the drone, and Blur is trying to find Kajeka. But now that minute, well, that's only 20 seconds, and 20 seconds against Banshees and putting bullets luckily into the back of Kajeka. There's a little bit more, but without securing the kill, it's still a concern for WTG to pick up a triple behind the mirror for the 4th Virtus.pro. Pull back around that seemed out of their hands.
Very well played here by WTG, able to pick up very important kills right here. Played the situation perfectly, got a super nice shot off onto the spiral stairs right there, dropping the diffuser, basically already won them the round right there, and VP now up 4-2, up to their attacks now. This is the moment where they have the opportunity to show that NaVi can bleed and that they are indeed a team that really relies into the heavy performances of Doki and other of their players. So far, still not having the best game yet. And, well, VP coming alive. WTG 8-2. Rask 7-4. VP living up so far. And, well, I was asking myself, like, why don't they use Thatcher? But there's no need for it. They have the IQ. They have the top floor control. They can just get away without using Thatcher. You see the same method being used by VP now. The IQ is coming out because of the fact that, of course, a Valkyrie is open, Echo is open, and those aren't operators that are too crazy to be played. So I was wondering myself, but just found the answer for it. And VP is going to be continuing that trend as they are going to attack the bottom floor first, as NaVi will be putting up the pressure down into Piano with that mirror window.
Making sure that they have themselves set up to do a bit of a hefty hold here. They're putting a lot of utility on the kind of hope of, well, we can keep this. And I guess it's down to the coordination of Virtus.pro to prove otherwise. They've set themselves up. That claw is going to make sure that that wall isn't popped so easily from the Piano windows. They're going to have to try and get in and get aggro if they want to get that mirror. And talking of aggro, Doki looks like he wants to go fishing at the top floor windows, but in the time it takes him to get to, well, WTG's already found himself inside and is steadily clearing via Visa. The first body is flooded with, but nobody wants to make the first move just yet.
I was going to say this could be a rush if WTG decided to pressure double down onto that one man down on the Visa stairs, but not able to chase him down. Of course, is not aware whether or not players are still upstairs and will be a threat as he sets up his own flank drone. His own flank drones, rather. He surely will be putting down some pressure soon, as Milan's still repelled up near the connected windows, looking to find some pressure. Gershaka as well trying to challenge it, might be able to bait it out. And Stokie playing at the half of the yellow stairs, looking to find out where the pressure is coming from so he can try and do what he does best in the previous 3 games, trying to get those entries, trying to pick off a very important operator that is unaware of his position, unaware of the pressure that he's trying to put down and the actions he tries to make. As VP is being very careful with their drones, they also know that that is what is looming for them, that is what is coming soon.
Hop down and still a minute 30 and all the players are on the board. They haven't quite found anyone yet, but they have found their way all around this bathroom. They want to put the pressure here, and Doki is the one that might swing round and offer a little bit of a response. Secretly gets out of there, but Doki gets deep. There is Milan. He knew he had to move, and he moved quick, and he's able to get some revenge now. They can apply some pressure onto this bathroom. They have over a minute, plenty of time to still build themselves an attack here, but you look at what's been taken out. It's the sledge, it's those frag grenades, it's so much risk, and they're still a bit cautious of the approach here. Seems like they're still steadily concerned someone's inside. Bathroom's empty.
Used a couple of X-Kairos right now to take care of the mirror window where no one was behind anymore. Just waited a couple of seconds, could have been buying them some times, but right now, putting down the pressure. They're hoping to open up as much as they possibly can. WTG trying to find out where the electric claws are together with Rask, who's of course having the electric sensor scanner. He's going to be able to use that to take care of these claws. As Burr now sitting down with a C4, hoping to put some pressure down, but he's not going to be able to pick up a kill. And VP surely entering within the next 5 seconds.
They're trying to find some semblance of safety, but nothing is landing. The canister is going to stop the immediate entrance, but look at the bodies trying to flood their way around yellow stairs. It frees Blur to go surprisingly deep. The pings are consistent, and the man is stuck on the breach. Kozeka's health bleeds, but so does Milan's gun. Can't get through it. It's stuck. It's broken. It's a little misplaced. And that is a round, unfortunately, determined by being a bit too thick.
Placed it a little bit too much to the right there. Should have been an extra pixel or 2 to the left, and it would have been breachable, walkable, or crouchable, whatever you want to make. The hole was too small, and they weren't able to fit through. With that, didn't even get the attempt to try and put down that diffuser. And that gives the round up to NaVi, who managed to come back on it, even though a missed spray down onto the yellow stairs could have costed them dearly if they were able to push through and trying to get the defuse down on the likes of VP, but that was not the case. It couldn't go through, and that is going to be leaving NaVi with a bit of an escape, with a bit of air, so to say, as they managed to walk back 1 round. They're going up to console meeting, trying to equalize the scoreline, trying to put it down onto a 4-4. From there on, build on their confidence, build on their potential lead that would be incoming.
There's a little bit of a sad story here, which is if Hibana hadn't used the pellets on the mirror window, they would have been able to extend that hole at the end.
Right. I told you as well, it's a bit of a waste when it happened, because...
But it was like, I get why they were there and what they were doing.
Yeah.
By the point that they're fired, you know, pop them off.
There's no getting
You're not putting them back in your pocket, but at the same time, it's those little threads of, ooh, a split second. If they had have waited a bit more and allowed them to get the swing in, it could have been a very different story. However, it's the story we have.
Yeah, it is the story we have, and the reason they popped those Excaliburs onto that window is, of course, due to the fact that the IQ was pushing around from the other side of the bathroom. You want to put that pressure down. You ideally don't want to take the gunfight in that bathroom because you're going to be losing it to that shotgun. So opening up that window is going to force them to drop through the hatch.
Oh, entirely.
However, no one was there. That's the whole point.
That's
just
it.
a simple drone would have saved them that round.
It's that sad balance of everything they did was the right thing, but one other bit of information could have changed it. And even then, you know, you don't know that that's too thin until you try and go through it. And unfortunately, that was just the lesson that they learnt as they tried to go for their push. There was a canister that made it impossible to fully test, which is why you saw Kajeka go for it a couple times. Is he went in, couldn't quite get it because the smoke canister pulled him off. So he thought, well, I might be able to make it happen. Went in again, suffered more at the hands of the smoke. It's unfortunate. Again, it's the stories that happen. We trust Virtus.pro will be able to step up, and as you can see, they're already stepping in. Pressure instantly playing around admin, and it looks like it's going to come quickly towards the bodies that are holding on to a spiral. They have gone all in on the take you talked about earlier today.
Yeah, this take just feels so much more reliable by me, or at least for me, considering the fact that you have so much more ground to play with. You're not basically banished to repels trying to get the angles like that. You have free movement, full control over what you like to do, and well, if they manage to get this long desk control, I believe one of them might have gotten eaten by an ADS right there. It's NaV jumping down now. Might be going for a flank actually on the Visa stairs, but you have an opportunity. Oh! That's the wrong timing to rotate around, my friend.
All right, maybe they are a little bit unlucky. Dropped by Nath, able to catch them. Rask gets revenge, though has been able to have a pretty big game, and that's a good thing for Virtus.pro because Rask and WTG have been struggling throughout this season. The two players are generally the bottom of the team overall, so to see them both step up again, if we're going to talk about good things Virtus.pro can take away from this, there's two very good things. Two big players able to have a bit of momentum and movement. Milon finds secretly as well, puts the body balance back into their favor now as they're ready and waiting to try to pounce and put pressure onto the site itself. Saves, holding a bit of a close angle, can hear the constant pressure, doesn't pre-fire one, but Blur drops Rask in the meantime. Long desk is a constant fight, and more bullet holes, more flashes. They're going a little bit too deep. Everything's on Saves, but Saves is on them. Kajeka tries to slip in with the diffuser and put it down in the corner, but they aren't quite paying enough attention. Saves, puts more balance back. Pasha finds one, putting the pressure onto Long desk, finds two, and Milon locks it off for 3. Virtus.pro. 5 rounds.
5 rounds indeed, and I was going to say, Saves playing with the MK14 on such a tight angle. That thing is chipping away on your health. You only need 2 shots to kill someone, and he almost managed to do it twice from that same very close angle if it wasn't for Milon coming up, able to pick up the kills right there together with Pasha. And right now, Virtus.pro is only 1 round away from picking up a points right here. The 1 round away from giving the initiative to BDS as well for potentially picking up the lead, the sole lead of this league. As we all have been waiting to see that NaVi versus, well, BDS game that will be happening later this week. Might be decided here today by VP, showing up huge. Taking down a lot of rounds so far on NaVi and showing that NaVi can bleed.
The thing as well is if they do get the 3 points from this Virtus.pro, obviously there's still a lot of games left in hand, but at the end of this game, via the points on the board, would rocket themselves up from 9th to 5th. That's how big that little selection can be and how close everything is kind of rumbling around. And, well, that would leave Empire at the minimum with 2 rounds behind whoever was in 9th place. Not a great place to be, but hey, that's other stories, and this is the one we have in front of us, and it's still not over yet. NaVi 2 rounds behind. Oh. Yeah, that's one of those moments.
he was like just standing on the long desk, you know. There was no risk of that C4 hitting, but then decided to rotate back and, well, got his feet blown out underneath him. A very unfortunate moment indeed. As right now, as you said, 5-3. Virtus.pro have the initiative. They could bring it to match point here, secure themselves their first point, and only allow NaVi to play for 2 at that point, whilst they still have the opportunity to go for the full 3. VP again seeming to go for the admin take, however. course, it's a different side. We are in lobby press. But still, you want to have that top floor control. You want to make sure that no angles are being held by any of those NaVi players if you want to be forcing a plant anywhere in either lobby or press.
Have themselves already suffering a little bit at the main door. NaVi are looking for a fight, and they're keeping Consulate aggressive, which you kind of have to do. It's a very tough map to get yourself comfortable really anywhere. There's generally always angles, there's windows, it's big flat walls and surfaces with the possibility of running out and peeking out from so many different places, and Rask is the next to suffer, but Pasha puts saves in a place that Pasha's been putting a lot of people down, able to apply a little bit more pressure here, and Blur's gonna blow the first canister quite early to make sure that there's no swing in with conjoined pressure from the rest of Virtus.pro, but they're happy to take their time, and they're happy to see for the IQ.
Again, a C4 kill coming out right there, and WTG now removed off the board. Not going to be able to find that pulse anymore as he's trying to roam around, trying to guide a potential C4 from secretly to go right onto target. Will be aware, however, of one member down onto, well, lobby, going down onto the Visa stairs, and knows he will be peaked anytime soon. And Pasha is deciding to go for a rotate blur, somehow staying alive for a little bit there before it gets taken down by Milan. And that is yet again a man advantage right here for VP.
It's one of those sad moments as well. If we're going to talk about Doki not quite having the big performance they've had before, Blur has really struggled to get himself into this game. Can't quite find the wake and the movement in the bodies being dropped as he usually does. So I guess to have one of your big guns misfiring is pretty worrying. To have both is canonically bad luck. The pre-fire comes through, but Doki's already dropped out of there and headed down yellow. There's concern, and we can see a blue body rotating to the bottom of yellow stairs. Rask applies some pressure and pushes Doki back up to a slightly different position, but he hasn't been caught as of yet, and with only 27 seconds, it's going to start the collapse. Nath finds a double, finds himself able to step back up and get backed onto the back of long desk. There is big rotations coming out. A single blue body is going to be the make or break here, as Pasha is going to try and get the drop in, finds a quick rotation, has to dig in towards the site itself, doesn't see the close man. There's Revenge, there's a 2 versus 2, and now Kajeka is digging in behind the piano. 2 seconds left, Pasha gets the kill he needs, but it's down to a pulse, and the pulse is there!
I was gonna say, giving up that top floor control to Nave, the pulse is going to be so dangerous if you want to go down for that plant. And as he tries to pick it down next to piano, there was little time left, but he read the situation, got the little dots, and they prepared the vertical angle just in case a plant would go down there, guided his shots in, managed to land it. And on the back of time, NaVi are going to be able to put themselves up for the 4th round there, because otherwise that would have been a VP one if that wasn't for the one pulse still left standing on that top floor.
Well, no one's happy because everybody knows it's far from over yet. Cafe and Garage is where we're going to head to, and as we said a few times throughout this, verticality is played well by both teams, but it was a decision and it was a risk. It was 20 seconds, and you look at where the NaVi players were. You saw Pulse on the top floor. Nath played it brilliantly, didn't overextend, got himself into a position because he still had Mirror inside the bathroom. He still had that pressure and that presence, and they know that the onus to perform at this point is on those trying to get the diffuser down. Dug in, waited, Pasha made a decision. I have to be in a position to refrag, because if we lose that one kill on that Mirror inside, Kajeka is isolated and alone, whether I'm up there or not. It was I guess the balance of, do we keep ourselves in a 1v1 and a 1v1 and a 1v1 and trust we win our ones, or do we try and push a 2v1? Do we try and body over the site? They made a choice, and this time it was the wrong one.
Oh no, he didn't get it. Okay, Nate will survive. And so will Pasha, even more importantly. I was seeing it coming. I was so ready for it.
I know. I could tell.
Pasha just body checking. He's not having it. He's prepared. He's seen things in spawn peaks on this map.
It's Consulate. I mean, to run...
That's true. It's just one big spawn peak.
To run towards the building on Consulate with confidence? No. Crazy.
To use a Monty shield to get to the building.
Even then, you're going to get a spawn peak from somewhere.
Oh, that's a good kill. Very well played by Pasha. Quick plays coming through, hammering down onto the Visa stairs. We'll be taking down Nave. It's going to be the Maestro gone, and more importantly, the Evil Eyes out of commission. We're playing on that bottom floor, mind you. It's just going to be giving away very important information now, but will not be zapping away defeat. Something we saw during the previous matchup was very important in that bottom floor Church Arsenal hold. Not going to be happening right here in Cafeteria Garage. And Pasha might have just put up a very important kill for this round right here.
Yeah, it was a very good read, and the pace that they applied revenge for the window peak, they said, well, no, you're not getting away with that easily. Now you've got Nath off the board, a big player who's been able to keep NaVi in it, clutch the round just before, this time watching on cams and hoping he can feed the intel that is required to keep himself solid secretly. Suffering under a plague of drones that drizzle in to the bathroom and keep himself concerned about the spread of wet on the floor. No, heads out of there, but a grenade almost catches Rask. A bit of miscommunication yet again around that bathroom, but almost more costly than it was before.
First Electroclog was found and taken out. I believe the second one is actually placed towards that hatch on the actual wall that was protecting the mirror window. And that means they have now free reign to open up. And thus they have Kurzeka open up onto the wall. Pasha, however, will fall by a C4. NaVi really effective with these C4s. Will be able to land. I think this is the third one in a row right now as Rask now continues to open up vertically.
I think that's one of the differences here, is this time Pasha was able to cause some destruction inside Piano, was taken out of the mix a little bit early before and put them on a bit of a cost. But Milon, well, he's going to apply some pressure of his own as WTG creeps up by Harry Potter, takes care of Blur on a rotation, secretly intensely concerned of this play. The swing and the dance goes his way, but it's a plant situation as Kurzeka keeps his head down and keeps himself focused, but he doesn't need it because Milon storms through.
Holding the mirror window right there, making sure that if anybody would move into the kitchen, you would be able to pick up those kills. Shut down kitchen first and shut down security. And with that, Virtus.pro finds themselves on match point. That is going to be 2 rounds for them to try and lock this out, to try and for them and go for the full 3 points, as I believe that is a tactical timeout being called by NaVi.
Yep.
And there's no better time to do it than now, because
when else
don't
would
win
you?
This round, well, maybe last round when you still had an opportunity to go for 3, you know?
I guess it's one of those situations, is if you do it when you're on the 5 down, 5-3, you have those moments of we can talk about this, but it was also still very early into their attacks. They were still kind of piecing stuff together, so they probably still had more ideas. They hadn't seen the full potential 3-site rotation. They wanted to talk about it and see what they could do. Here, you're on death's door. You're 2 rounds away from guaranteeing a point, which when you're trying to keep pace for first and you know it, you've got BDS coming up. Oh, those are precious, just for momentum at this point.
It is indeed for momentum, and, even though if they would lose this one, there's still the head-to-head tiebreaker and stuff like that, so it's not all lost yet, but they do want to keep those points, not just for the stage victory, but due to the fact that at the end of the year, you get stage 1, 2, and 3 all counted up to each other to get the top 4 and the bottom 2 that would go for relegation. And then you would be like, well, but what if you're first or second place in stage 1? There's no way you would relegate out at the end of the year.
Yeah, and then you bust open your big book of Siege Tales.
And you say, look at Rogue.
You say, look at what happened last season, the team that was top. Well, things went badly for them. Then
that's light.
Rogue fans, sorry to make you think about it again. You're doing okay now. Doing pretty good now. But back then,
we can talk about it again.
Not so hot. Not so hot back then. And yeah, and that was it. And they found themselves playing for relegation. They found themselves only here for another year because they were able to take care of Eminem when it mattered the most. But you've always got to perform. You've always got to keep yourself battling. And these are 2 teams as well. They're always finding themselves in mid-table. They're always finding themselves to the top of it. Sure, 4th place, 5th place, getting to the majors, getting to those situations where they might be able to pull something better. But they want the top. They want the crown. And the jump between the bottom of the board to the middle is, for a lot of teams, sometimes harder than the one from the middle to the top. Virtus.pro have a lot of work to do to get there. NaVi are doing work already, but a loss here could start to spell the shake towards the middle of the table again.
It could indeed start to spell that. Of course, they still have a little bit of a gap in between them and G2, who are currently in third place, so it wouldn't automatically lose them. But you don't play to become second. You don't play to become third. You play to become first. You want to be the best, otherwise you're not a true competitor. Because right now, NaVi finds themselves in a bit of a awkward situation where 2 rounds in a row they need to win. They need to be flawless and not give anything away to VP, because VP is absolutely on fire right now. They're hunting them down. They realize every single mistake that's being made and they punish it very harshly. Make sure that they pick up the rounds as a result. So NaVi, they need to be and bring their best game right now.
Well, Rask has been able to open himself up an angle on this bathroom window, and you can see that NaVi are responding to this. They're making sure that they put some soft on the admin side so they can get a quick early idea of an audio cue if somebody does try to apply some pressure from certain angles. That way they can focus entirely on the entirety of Virtus.pro that is trying to swing in and lock off the top of yellow. They're in. But it is more than just getting in, as NaVi have shown us. And look at the pressure on the man in the connector, waiting for something to happen. Some support from the opposite side for Blur, or somebody to swing in. Either way, there's so many bodies of Virtus.pro, and there doesn't seem to be anybody that he can pull apart from him.
And this is a danger, right? Blur is playing behind a reinforced wall. There's no pressure being put down from him onto the bathroom. And as I said, I believe there's a little breach going on that might open up an angle towards him that could make sure that they have a little bit of an angle indeed. But Blur will be able to win that gunfight. Takes down onto Rask. Will be taking down the one man that was repelled up onto the bathroom that had the opportunity to try and challenge him. And I'm going to tell you this, he is crucial as Blur takes down a second one. He is the one that they need to take. And he gets it. Going absolutely insane from the connector right now. Stuns are coming in from the console windows right here. Are they going to be aware of the fact that he's inside? Gets a fourth. Is he going to be going for the ace? He's trying. He's going to. He gets it. Blur with the ace. A flawless round. And I said they need to bring their best. And Blur definitely did.
The man who has had such a good season, and you cannot deny that with the stats that's put together, couldn't quite find his way in Consulate. Yeah, all it took was a match point threat. All it took was 2 rounds away and a team talk. Credit to him and credit to Blur, sticking in with all the pressure from all the other sides. I said, okay, maybe he needs something to happen. He needs support from someone else, or he needs to find a first kill. I guess that was partially correct. It's just what he needed was Virtus.pro to open the angle for him to start killing people through. What an ace.
And I was going to say, like, they need to take care of Blur because he's in a crucial position. He can shut down your diffuser as it jumps in. And due to that reinforcement, there was no way of just banging him away from that window. So they needed to use some Exkyros, which they did. But oh, how it backfired. I mean, I think we don't need to say more than that.
No, and that's it. And well, Virtus.pro, you still have one more possibility of locking this out. Getting your first precious 3 points and pulling yourself up the board. It's not over yet. And NaVi, we've got a tricky situation to play. Lobby is what they're going with. Obviously, this was a success story before, but it came down to a 2 versus 1 with time and verticality being the lesson that was taught. Nath on Pulse ended the round and wrote the story for NaVi to be able to pull something together, so they still have to make something work here. Even with Doki not quite firing on all cylinders, the rest of NaVi have found themselves able to step up when it matters most. Who knows how this can go for them?
Doki preparing 1 bullet hole per window. He's ready for the admin take. He's ready to shut it down, and it's up to them to try and stop that. But it's instead Milan that takes out secretly, shoots out his ankles underneath the mirror window. Yeah, that's a way to deal with that. That's an unreinforced wall. Just shoot him down underneath it, and there's no way that they can use that freely now. That's a free kill for VP right here. One they don't have to work hard for, as it was just potentially just an attempted bang, and it managed to work out for them. No risk, but high reward.
Yeah, that's a very big blow, but so is that. Pasha dropped from a pop outside. They're waiting for the door. We've seen Virtus.pro try and hunt these revenge kills down afterwards, but they are going to drone ahead. They're not going to put themselves in a position of danger. Concerned about where saves went, but that man has a habit of clutching, and he's going to make sure he can live up to that title. Kajeka droning out across the top is trying to find some semblance of control. They still need that vertical lock off, and it's going to start with that Thermite putting some pressure across the top of Visa's stairs. The pings are consistent to Blur, who held this before but suffered by the end. There's a canister popped, hoping the man is droning just off the side, but he's not. There it is. WTG doubled up for some support with the Thermite here, and I guess it's down to how long and how heavy the hold is going to come as Nath has moved in to replace secretly.
Yeah, and due to that, Doki had to fall back a little bit as well as Blur gets a spot out, but didn't fire the shots himself. Was pretending that Milan was a T-Rex by not moving, and indeed wasn't spotted out. Somehow able to pick up that kill. That is now the advantage back into NaVi's hands. They have the opportunity to go huge right here, and Doki still on that top floor together with Blur are going to be able to make sure that just a straight-up plants will not be happening from the likes of VP. So VP, they need to be able to take down these kills now. They need to be able to take down Blur if they want to have any hope of winning this round.
Oh, Blur's fired his last canister, and with 40 seconds on the board still, it's going to come down to the cover that comes through on the opposite side. The flashes are going out the swing. There's Doki getting one on the top of Visa stairs. A big kill. As we see the split, Rask gets a freebie. He's rotated around the back of Spiral Stairs. He's looking for the body on the mirror window. He finds it too. A 2 versus 2. 20 seconds on the board as Rask digs himself into the center of sight. Suddenly, things are being pulled out from underneath. Kozhetka has to do the rotation with the diffuser here. Rask puts pressure, gets one more triple for Rask. It's all down to Blur yet again. Verticality is the cost yet again. It's a dance around the console office, and yet again, it is so little time for Virtus.pro. They have to stick it. There's the pings, there's the kill. There it is, NaVi!
Again, Blur able to win it right here. He's literally single-handedly keeping them in the game, Fluke. If he is an MVP by the end of this, and I don't know anymore, he just secured him that 1 point at least. Because otherwise that would have been 3 to VP. And somehow they're calm about it. I don't know. We're shouting right here is the absolute most crazy thing that happened. He gets an ace. Next to that, he's able to pick up these huge frags and gets the 1v2 clutch on the back of time again from the verticality, because that has been the biggest issue for that site. And Blur right now leading the charge together with Nave. Both on 9 kills, but Blur really being the MVP so far.
They're calm because it isn't over yet. There's still ground to play. There's still a game on our hands. And at points you wouldn't have thought it, but what a showing for 2 rounds. You say he hadn't been able to get into the game before. He hasn't just arrived. He's defined the game over the past 2 rounds, and that is momentum in NaVi's pocket. Virtus.pro back on the defense, back on the top floor. You do have to give big credit to Rask here, because the round looked lost until he found this triple. Taking a man against a mirror window takes a lot of skill, and he was pre-firing towards Blur before it was the right call. But sometimes the right call doesn't win rounds.
Blur coming in huge right there. And indeed, I like, by the way, Rask able to pick up the double kill on the side. You instantly sort of rappel down. All right, we're going for the execute. We're going for the plant. It was a good call. It is a 1v2. You just need to find a spot where there was no vertical play. But NaVi thought it through. They were well aware of the fact that that is the weakness in the strategy. Just someone running in, and just decided to create every single vertical hole to every single safe plant spot you can imagine, just so they have an opportunity of trying to challenge it. And there's only one way you can try and stop it, and that's outgunning the guy who's trying to peek you. But that didn't work out. Twice there. Blur able to bring in the clutch. Is that... Wait, did he also win the previous one, lobby press from above? Or was that someone else?
No,
that was Nathan, right?
It was Nathan.
Yeah, okay.
But both times we won in a 2 versus 1 vertical situation of no time.
Very true and very close game.
Milan's dug in on connector as they find themselves trying to hold on to the top. This is one of the games that Virtus.pro played very well on their defense if you missed the opening 6 rounds, is controlling the drones, controlling the information from a mix of mozzies or from those arena gates on certain other sites. They seem consistently able to get that, but Are they able to survive this? The shield is dropped. It puts WTG in a more uncomfortable situation with Blur watching and waiting to try and apply the pressure before Milon drops an ADS. And there's another grenade, but another one whiffs on by. Actually, I think it was caught by an ADS at the very end. More pops and an aggressive swing, but just fed to the bodies that were holding the top. And now that's a bit of ground for NaVi to take.
Oh, that's a bit more. As Saves now will be able to take down the kill onto Pasha as well. Seems to be thinking someone might be coming down from below, but the phone calls will be ringing now. And that is going to be giving away the position that Rask is playing in. The last two, of course, Milon in connect to Kajaka, playing near the bathroom, hoping to lock down the side. As it is, a C4 comes in onto Blur. Will take him out. The man who clutched up 2 rounds here for NaVi. This could be huge for VP, as Secretly now goes low as well. Rask is coming up for a huge flank. If he makes this stick, that's going to be a VP round potentially.
Well, he's made his presence known, and that applies a lot more pressure back on with 50 seconds. He's going for a rotate. We can see a body coming from underneath, drops a drone. They know he's there now, but knowing is only half the battle, and that's the other half. Nath being dropped by Milon suffers some pressure before. We've seen heroics inside connector, and we've seen Rask putting in some work with Milon doing it on the top floor too. Suddenly, things have slipped back into the favor of Virtus.pro. 20 seconds, only 2 NaVi players left alive. Saves and Doki, the old school lineup, is able to get one, dropped one. It's a 2 versus 1 with 15 seconds. Swings for a bit of potential revenge. Doesn't see Rask and Virtus.pro back 1 round away from success.
Have another match point to fight for now. This time it's only worth 2 points rather than 3, but better late than never, as we would say. And up to VP now to go up to their attacks. Or will it be NaVi that battle back on that defense and will bring it to maximum OT? It's a possibility, especially if Blur is going to be able to pull up a crazy clutch again, or if it is any of the other members stepping up huge. Blur did his fair share so far this game, but they're not done yet. NaVi want to take this win, and with that, they need this round.
16 and 15 in Milon and Rask, and I think that really paints the story of how much they've been able to step into this game. Milon's had a good season so far. He's obviously been highlighted as one of the potential rookies of the season last season. Here, he's kept that momentum up, but Rask was one of those players where he can be so good on his day when he's confident, but he hadn't been confident seemingly this season. He hadn't quite been able to get himself in. This is the Rask that I remember. This is the Rask from the Virtus.pro that terrified teams on a map like Consulate. And I think he's had a really, really good showing today.
Had a really good showing indeed. Just able to pick up so many kills, helping VP to a lot of these rounds. Just in the position they are right now, and yet another match point that they have the opportunity to claim. They have the opportunity to pick up those 2 points, which are still very important for them as they are struggling at the bottom of the table. NaVi, as we said, managed to fight back for at least 1 point, because you don't know if you're going to need it at the end of this. That was a dangerous done there, Nath. He'd have lost his life if he would have been pre-fired by any of the VP members. But as I said, every point will matter at the end of the season, at the end of the tally. They managed to at least get this one extra, but they're looking for the other one. They're looking for the second one.
That's it. Every point is precious, as we say, in the fight towards middle of the table. Probably more so to Virtus.pro, who want something to get themselves off that bottom of the board and pull themselves a little bit higher in preparation for all the games in hand. But NaVi, they're still keeping themselves in this game, seemingly playing it steady and slow. They have enough information grab to try and stem the flow of the Virtus.pro players, but if we're going to talk about the KD ratios and how big of an impact people have been able to have from NaVi, it's still pretty balanced and stoic. Nobody outside of Blur across a couple of unbelievable rounds has had big kill rounds. It's been great clutches from the likes of Nath and Secretly, but otherwise it's just been play. It's been get themselves in, whereas in terms of the firefights, in terms of winning the ones, it's generally gone the way of Virtus.pro, and here they're looking to try to double down on that. No one from NaVi is seemingly overstretching themselves so far as of yet.
Exothermic coming out though on the wall right now, giving away Doki's position. He wasn't droned out before, will now have to fall back without having the impact he wanted to have. He wanted to pick up 1, maybe 2 kills from the Visa stairs right there. Wanted to use the undetected buff he had available to him. As of course that would have been a surprise attack, but no longer will be able to reach from that. As VP still working heavily and getting that top control. And of course, NaVi is playing lobby press. It's a site they managed to clutch up twice on the back of vertical play, on the back of the... Oh, that's very unfortunate. Blur just standing there, and Pasha caught off guard with a grenade in his hand. And effectively getting a double kill by taking him down as he had a grenade in his hand.
Was he swinging in at the time it was dropped? That is so unbelievably tragic, because that is a long animation, and that animation is the length. I guess we'll find out on the timeline what happened there later on. But for now, all we can say is that is a nightmare. But it was a 5 versus 3 before. They pulled it back to a 3 versus 3. And they're gonna see if they can try and do that again and finally find the missing end to the story. Oh no, it's not there. Milan taken down by Doki. 30 seconds, and Ras has crouch walked his way in. Got one pre-fired for the second, but another off-place position pulls them down. Kozheka hasn't really been able to find himself on the scoreboard in terms of kills so far, but that's not his role. Unfortunately, neither is clutching this round out. NaVi back to 7 apiece.
7-7 indeed, and I don't know if we have the replay for the kill onto the operator, which had the grenade in hand. Pasha, that was. And I just want to quickly highlight it. If you kill someone who has a grenade in his hand, that is going to be dropping on the ground still as a live grenade and will be blowing up at some point. Now, if you are walking over trying to go for the refrag, it's better if you don't, because it will blow up. And if you're standing on that grenade at that moment in time, you are going to die. So an effective double kill by Blur. I mean, he's standing in the middle of nowhere. Who would have expected? I wouldn't have expected him to sit there either if you're trying to get a grenade right over the wall.
That's it. That his positioning there, the place, you have to look at not only where he was, but why he was there. And it's the build-up of how much was taken out of the NaVi hold on the top floor. We'd seen Doki push back. We'd seen all the pressure above the site and above the hatch had actually moved off. At that point, they'd been able to obviously get that admin wall over the top of Visa stairs. They had that long angle that was otherwise quite a struggle for them before. And then they thought, okay, well, this will be an easy pop over the top. Surely they're just playing back. I've said it many times. That is a dead man zone. That area, no man's land. It's so dangerous, Long Desk. And he was like, I know what's going to take him by surprise. To have the cojones to do that on, you know, the opponent's map point when they have all of the control around admin. Hey.
It calls for a bluff, and he did it perfectly. And you saw the panic in Pasha right at the moment he peeked, and he saw the guy sitting down there and was like, I'm dead. Dropped that grenade, killed his teammate with it, and you saw that's a little bit of a tilter, right? That is going to be helping NaVi. That is going to be helping them in the mental game right now. Here, by the way, see it? Some of the rotation holes or the verticals being created with the Aruni, I have to say. With the cyber arm, one punch goal, making sure that they have the same opportunity to do what NaVi did so often. But as I was saying, it can be a bit of a tilter, right? So it might just as well carry in some momentum for this round right here, the deciding round to see who's going to be picking up the 2-pointer.
Wow, so far NaVi have struggled more on their attacks, but I guess we'll see if success can be what they can pull together here as they look at the imposing possibility of a Virtus.pro defense. Lobby is where things are going to kind of meet their maker, and Doki instantly comes in with some pressure on admin. They have the pings and the ideas of the bodies that are on the top floor. They're looking for the pinch cover. They're concerned of the possibility of run-outs because it's a game that has been played before. They know, as with any consular game, it's gotten more and more aggressive as time has gone on. People have gotten more bold, more vicious. You can see Doki wants to live up to that. Concerned about somebody playing the top of Spiral. Blur is looking to try and do what he stopped from before. Kozheka's dug in on the corner. They're droning it consistently. Pasha on the rotation all the way up from the basement is looking to lock down the back of Visa and make sure no one can come through. Ooh. Oh, there goes saves.
Very important kill there, taking down saves. He is the man that can hunt you down if you are actually on that rotation, because Shaka finds himself in a tough spot as the table is gone. Pasha able to pick up a kill down onto Doki. We find ourselves in a 3-on-2 situation now. Blur and secretly up against Ras, WTG, and Pasha for all the marbles, who are going to be taking away the 2 points. There's 80 seconds left rather, and they need to go for that first forward take. Are there any VP members left up on that top floor ready to go for these verticals that have helped NaVi with so many of these rounds? No, there's not. One in bathroom, one in spiral, and one in piano. That's what they need to clear out. That's what they need to find out. And as the drones are coming in, surely some information will be fed to them. Not quite sure if there's any pre-plays, but Blur doesn't seem to be fully secure about it yet as he's preparing a grenade.
Yeah, we can see them both going for very separate clears here. They've obviously got teammates watching pre-placing the drones. They were moving around, but to separate your clears and control is a dangerous game. It really puts you in the limit of, well, we are a body down, and this could be where they suffer. There's still Pasha on the bottom of Spiral. He's gone unchecked, he's gone undroned, and there is secretly gone punished. Diffuser cold. Blur has everything to do, finds one with the dropped hatch, looks for the second and finds it, puts us in a 1 versus 1. Blur, yet again, it is the name we are screaming on the halls of Consulate. Pasha has rotated underneath. He's well aware of where the play is, but 13 seconds. Has to try and stick it, has to try and get the catch round. Pasha cannot play this too competitively, goes the wrong way, sticks it. Blur finds the middle post. Blur finds the win for NaVi. Take a bow.
What that's got is he managed to literally lock the first point after getting 2 clutches in a row and ace to start it off. The clutch on the second one, bringing it to 6-6. And right now on 7-7, he gets the 1v3 clutch. The man is an absolute god. He is the true MVP of display day. Single-handedly secured NaVi 2 points here today, and they can be happy with his performance today. 13 on 11 he went, single-handedly destroying VP and their hopes there, with the grenade kill coming down post-mortem from Pasha.